if you pay attention or listen to any baseball game, like pitchers get dead arms. It happens. It's not like, whatever. It is what it is. Maybe it's something, maybe it's not. Maybe he's just got a tired arm and he's just getting his start, so whatever. But they're not making a big deal out of it because they're like, there's no discomfort, anything like that. And of course, Schilling's like, that doesn't sound right. That sounds weird. So then, of course, even though it is Kurt Schilling, and I know what he's doing, I'm getting, like, what the fuck is going to happen? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
well, but at the same time, it's still exciting because I've been going with the whole they hired the whole regime, the whole, Theo machine, and everything they've done, they've said they would do. So they've done everything they said they were going to do when they came here, and I'm just kind of waiting to see where it goes. It's exciting. I'm so intrigued by what the Sox have done, though, because they're really like one of the guys. I really wanted the Cubs to sign Melky Cabrera. I thought that was like a huge pickup for your Sox.
Yeah. I I I I was shocked by it. I didn't see it coming. I didn't think it was going to be out there, or that it was going to happen, and it, it was very encouraging because you had there were a lot of issues addressed, and I think the team did a lot of the things that they needed to do. I know that they've now locked up Adam Eaton long term, but you needed you needed some offensive help from the outfield because obviously Dion Viciedo, who's no longer with the team, wasn't cutting it. You still really don't know what you're going to have with Avi Garcia because he hasn't played a full season with the team yet. This looks like it's going to be that's going to change now, but you needed that help. Alexei Ramirez isn't a number two hitter. Gordon Beckham wasn't a number two hitter in years prior. Connor Gillespie isn't a number two hitter. He's good enough for the bottom of the order, say 7, 8, but he's not number two. Certainly, seemingly now the middle infield being, well, I should say the infield with Gillespie and it looks like Micah Johnson are going to anchor, and probably Tyler Flowers are going to anchor the bottom of the lineup, which is fine by me. But it's a different story. The Cubs thing is scary, just as a baseball fan, because they did get carte blanche to do everything they needed to do as far as rebuilding the organization from the farm system up. And to see these players potentially start paying dividends this early, that's amazing. That is really, really amazing.
It is a really scary thing about it.
And yeah, I guess the other side of that whole thing is what Scott Boras is doing right now,
Yeah.
and him inflating conflating, misconstruing issues just for him and his client to get a better payday. And for those of you that don't know, if a minor league player or a prospect does not play the first, I believe it's somewhere in the area of maybe 10 to 15 games or so, whatever the case may be, it doesn't count as a full service year. So you can have potentially about 45 games of major league service, but it not count as a service year, and it's not considered a rookie year. That would be then next year, and that's why they call a player a Super 2 in his quote third season, even though he's only played 2 full service years. And it's a way to, I don't want to say manipulate contracts and arbitration, but it kind of is. And it's in there. It's in the rules. It's in the CBA. If you don't like it, Players Association, don't agree to it.
You shouldn't have agreed to it.
Yeah. And I'm very happy that there's been 21 plus years of labor peace in MLB. And it all comes around, because if you have a Super 2, they're going to get paid like a Super 2. They are still going to get that mega money contract, whether it comes to arbitration, especially if you have one of the top 5 best players in the league, and he's sure he may be what 23, but he's going to be paid like somebody that's 27, and the money can only go up from there. You don't have to sign one of those nice big deals like Evan Longoria did, not necessarily Jose Abreu, Chris Sale, Clayton Kershaw signed a mega deal, but he's certainly deserving of that. Mike Trout as well. You can bet on yourself all throughout arbitration, and you can be paid goo gobs of money. That's fine, but there's also that injury risk there as well. So it's leverage, it's contract negotiations, it's just positioning and politicking. Scott Boras, I don't think is doing himself any favors. I certainly seem to read about him being dropped by more clients than that are picking him up. Conversely, and it's kind of funny because not only is Chris Bryant a Scott Boras client, but Carlos Rodon is a Scott Boras client, and Chris Bryant being the mega prospect on the north side, Carlos Rodon being the super pitching prospect on the other side. And I'm fine with the media taking, him going after the Cubs because we all know that their pocketbooks are going to be pretty flush here soon. I'm fine with him kind of not necessarily hanging Carlos out, but he knows what he has in a pitcher compared to a hitter, and the hitter is going to, I think, make certainly much more money over the course of his year.
I would imagine. The only way I look at it is they get another year out of him if they do what they're planning to do, and I don't understand why any fan of the team would be like, that sucks. Like what is it? Like 10 days? Come on. And then I'm listening to the broadcast of this game today, and there's people talking about, well, what if you're a playoff World Series contender? I don't think those 10 games, I hope those 10 games aren't the deciding factor. And you know what? It's not for real yet. It's spring training. I'm not saying this guy's not awesome. He showed every step of the way that he's awesome, but it's still how many times do you see that and then it doesn't pan out? You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's going to be a bust, and I don't think he's going to be a bust at all. I think he's going to be awesome because that's the way it looks, but there's still always that chance. So is it really that important?
No, it's really not.
And if you go by what it really is, they're at the point where they think they can contend somewhat. They're making moves to get to that point. I think they're going to see how the first part of the season goes, and if it starts going good, then I think they make a deal for another top-notch starter, and they're like, okay, here we go, it starts. But I think they wait on that, or I could be totally wrong, and they trade for Cole Hamels tomorrow. I have no idea. I don't know.
I think we'll know, and for the most part, outside of probably the mid-2000 Houston Astros, depending on where the Cubs are at, say June 15th, you're going to know. Everyone's going to know what the Cubs are. They're either going to be, if they're in the competition for either leading the division, wild card, that's great. But if for some possibility, not that I'm counting on that or certainly forecasting it, but if the bottom falls out, say in April, and you lose a couple of pitchers, not that it's Lester or anybody, but you lose some pitchers, it's not going to be that year. I don't see the problem then getting Chris Bryant up here and getting that major league experience for pitching, because that is so valuable for him in his growth experience. If that's what the case is going to be, okay, get that free service time. get that free experience. Certainly, it's an extended look as opposed to just a September call up where you're dealing with much more limited numbers as at bats and whatnot. Uh, Come the trade deadline, I think Theo will absolutely know what this team is, and it, it, no one was saying 2015 was going to be the year that they're going to absolutely compete, no questions asked, no hold bar. Uh, it was looking 16, 17. That's when things were going to start really picking up and really going after it. So it'll be interesting to see. Certainly, the Wrigley Field construction debacle has not helped things, and
It's so Cub.
it is so Cub, yeah. Taking a page. Sorry, sometimes I know we're stealing your bit here. I did last see a report. I think it was yesterday, maybe this morning, that that MLB has gotten involved in the Wrigley. They've stuck their nose in this thing, and they're potentially working a deal out with the White Sox to play games there. Should construction not be at where they want
You know,
it to be?
it's funny because like I'm like so just over all the bullshit of Cubs Sox. Like if you're
Oh,
seriously
I
going to be
know.
a stupid baseball fan and say stupid things to me about my team and their struggles and how like don't come on. It's been what? It's been 10 years. It's not like I understand how it works. I understand it's been over 100 years. I understand the failure. I've lived through all of it, but do I need to be an asshole to you because of it? Do you need to be an asshole to me? No, it's like get over. Oh, I would never go to a game if they were playing that. Like, dude, have you been there? Because the food's actually pretty good and the sight lines are actually pretty good, and it's a really nice baseball stadium. Sorry you don't fucking like it, and it's not some beat up place that you're trying to like piss more money out of. Like, just it makes sense. Like, why didn't you do this as the plan? Why didn't you do this and say, hey, we need 2 months, guys. Can we work out something? Like Reinsdorf,
Tom
like
Ricketts. It's
Reinsdorf wouldn't be like dollar signs, like he knows like it's a good deal. So you want to play games here, but I get part of the cut, but I'm not handling any of the operate. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so it's like
it's
he's
subletting.
like yeah, he's subletting, he's contracting. Like, why wouldn't he do that? Even maybe just so you don't go full boat in and you really want to create the cool experience that people like, even do like half, make a deal with the Sox and make a deal with Milwaukee and go half and half. And you say we need a month. This month we're going to play at Comiskey. This month we're playing at Miller Park. You know,
Yeah,
June 1st, opening day at Wrigley. Everything's done. ESPN gets their fucking game, and it's going to be laughable though because it's not going to be done, dude.
no,
They
it's
have a
not.
baseball stadium that's a construction site. There's going to be constant every time a ball gets hit to the outfield. You're
Yeah,
not going to see anybody. It's going to be like watching minor league baseball, and everybody's like, because we know it, and people who are going to look into it know it, but the majority of people don't probably know that it's not going to be done. And you're just
it's
gonna get random people who like see this game who are like, "What is that?"
it's not to the way that things fell for the Cubs was it couldn't have been worse timing. It really, really
Oh
couldn't.
yeah,
And what I mean by that is the winter honestly wasn't that bad. I thought they could have had gotten a lot more work done if given the opportunity to and given the support from the city to do so. Unfortunately, there's been a primary election for the mayoral race here in Chicago, and as what candidates do, they bend over backwards for the voters and fillet them insanely. So you had everybody saying nope, no round the clock construction at Wrigley. Specifically, Manuel said that he wasn't going to grant that kind of permit because had they been allowed to have 2-3 months of round the clock construction